Hey everyone, welcome to the Rookie Review here at Rookie Arcade. Today we are diving into Spirit of the North, a third-person adventure game following an ordinary fox and his foxy spirit companion traveling through a ruined land. Just a heads up, we're going to be saying fox a lot in this episode. I am Rockin' Wolf. Be sure to subscribe and hit the like button and leave us a comment below. Minimalist games can be a good time when well executed. Journey is an example of a great game that can be fun, intriguing, and still very simple at its core. Simplicity does not equal mediocrity, even though some gamers might generalize that. It also tremendously helps with manpower. The simpler a game is, the smaller the creative team can be. The game's direction can be a lot more cohesive with less people influencing it. However, when you plan to create a game that is structured to create an emotional response through very bare gameplay mechanics, you have to make sure those bare mechanics are as tight as they can be. Spirit of the North has no dialogue. The entire game is a visual experience influenced by Nordic folklore and lands inspired by Iceland. You take control of an ordinary fox as you go about your fox days up in the snowy mountains. Eventually you meet a female fox spirit, the guardian of the Northern Lights, or, well, you know, the Spirit of the North. After prancing around for a bit, our fox hero faints, likely due to exhaustion. The guardian fox in turn triggers her foxy powers to grant our ordinary fox protagonist some foxy powers too. The two foxes' destinies become intertwined in a tale of companionship and exploration. Or at least, that is what I've gathered. The game has no text, but it does have imagery that will help you piece together what happened here. Landscapes hint at past events, and vibrant murals will help you piece together this puzzle of a narrative. It goes without saying the story is pretty simple. Audio or video alone can be powerful tools for storytelling without having to be dependent on one another. However, narratives that are in essence very basic, with the intent of portraying emotion or evoking a particular response, can fall apart if the rest of the experience is not up to par. Unfortunately, Spirit of the North suffers from one of the most unfortunate problems a game can have: poor controls. No matter how immersive your experience is, if the controls don't respond to what they're supposed to do, the rest of the game crumbs apart. We run into this problem a lot in this game. Bad controls often do equal a fair amount of frustration. While traversing the beautiful environments, you'll find yourself at times fighting with the characters over jumps, rocks, invisible walls. I cannot tell you how many times I failed something as simple as walking. Nailing jumps can be a frustrating task, especially when the game makes the puzzle mechanic jumping from edge to edge most of the time. An act that sometimes requires such precision that you'll find yourself doing menial tasks over and over and over and over and over and over again. The game is self-advertised as an adventure game. Traversing the tundras, mountains, and glacial caves can be quite relaxing, but it is barely an adventure. Along the way, you'll come across puzzles you have to complete in order to open new areas and new chapters. But I use the word puzzle very lightly here. Puzzles typically just revolve around you walking along the beaten path and activating stones that open up the next part. To activate these stones, the player has to bring special fox energy, which is scarce in this world, but trust me, you won't have too much of a problem finding it. Later chapters will offer puzzles that appear more grand, but that is due to being in larger areas of the map. Difficulty will not increase dramatically. It simply gives the illusion the player gradually has to work harder to reach the next chapter, when in reality it's all a bit too straightforward. Other than going forward, the player has a side quest of releasing the souls from dead civilians of these ruins. These puzzles do require a bit more thinking outside the box, which is nice compared to the main game puzzles. Visually, the game is pretty on the outside. You'll run across snowy fields and grassy mountains, you can swim, you can bark, but once you get up close, that is when things get a bit fuzzy. The game is ambitious with its art design, but unfortunately it does not pay off here. On the other side, however, the soundtrack for this game is really nice and in tune with the tone of the story. The soundtrack itself is very quiet and ambient, which is perfect to set the mood for this game. Spirit of the North is an experience that still requires a bit of polish. The poor controls help in breaking the immersion, which for a game like this is definitely a bummer. Games can be small and simple and still be very impactful, but an important rule to that is, whatever your core mechanic is for a game, make it tight, make it cohesive. With bigger games, there are a multitude of things that can distract you from certain flaws. That is an advantage games like Spirit of the North do not have, and those flaws become apparent very quickly. So, is it Rookie Arcade approved? We're gonna have to pass on Spirit of the North. It does a couple of things well, like setting the mood through a good soundtrack, and there are hints of an engaging, quiet narrative, but simply moving forward in this game can be unnecessarily difficult. And that definitely will not bring in the casual players, which I figure is the main audience for this game. Thank you so much for coming back, everyone. Make sure to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button. Leave us a comment below with any content ideas you'd like to see us do. Please be safe out there, and we will see you soon.